Red Flags of Emotional Repression, Part 49, Conflating. All right, I gotta talk about this because I keep seeing conflation happen in like the spiritual healing wellness paradigm, where I think it's doubly important to call things what they are. So first of all, conflation or conflating things is the act of merging two distinct ideas into one, right? Or to mistake one concept for another. And whether that's happening purposefully or accidentally, it doesn't really matter because the outcome is the same. People get really confused. I got really confused. For example, in my 30s, when I dipped my toe in the water of the non-dual scene, can you tell I'm a musician? I noticed a lot of people talking about embracing their humanness. And the way they communicated how to accomplish this was through catchphrases like, it's okay not to be okay, or allow everything to be as it is. Which makes sense given that most people are living in, some degree of resistance and repression and not allowing anything to be as it is. But it always felt like there was something a little bit off about that approach, right? Like it was a cover for something. And I should have trusted myself because it turns out that it was. When they said it's okay not to be okay or allow it all, what they really meant, though I don't think they knew it at the time, was you have a right to suffer. Though they didn't consciously realize it yet, they were living in reaction to the people who raised them who were in emotional repression, right? They were going the opposite direction, which led them to conflate humanness with suffering. Yeah, when they said embrace your humanness, they were saying embrace your suffering. But seeing as how each of our emotional repression mechanisms create our own suffering, what they were really saying was allow yourself to continue to create your own suffering. And that, my friends, is known as emotional identification or emotional addiction. That is calling it what it is. Now, here's the conflating that I've been seeing lately that I think is just such a huge miss. When people talk about the feminine and the masculine in the spiritual paradigm, which they do a lot, it feels the same way to me. It feels like a cover. And I know from much experience that idealism is the perfect hiding place for buried repressed emotions. So here's what I think is happening. I think people are conflating the masculine with hurt repression and anger identification. Men should be tough and strong and leaders and a safe space for women. And maybe that's true. But how would a man know if that's his authentic expression, if he were still repressing hurt and vulnerability and identifying with anger? And conversely, femininity gets conflated with anger repression and hurt and vulnerability identification. Women ought to be meek, receptive, nurturing, and emotional, yeah? Again, maybe that's true, but how would she know that that's her natural expression if she's still in anger repression and vulnerability identification, where she's pretending to be meek, receptive, nurturing, and what was the last thing? Emotional. And the answer is, you can't know. No one can know what their natural, authentic expression is going to look like when they're still in emotional repression and emotional identification. It robs us of the power of choice, right? It makes it so we can't even be ourselves, let alone masculine or feminine. So if you want to start putting the horse in front of the cart and stop conflating gender roles with emotional repression and identification, then tap the link in the caption or the bio and come try some of our emotional repression work.